While history may recall 1997 as the year of Tony Blair, Spice World, and the death of Diana, the true man of the hour, literally, was Craig Charles. For 6 weeks, Craig dominated Friday night schedules, with Red Dwarf on BBC Two, appalling Channel 4 pirate sitcom Captain Butler, and on ITV, chat-cum-variety show Funky Bunker. As Bunker and Butler opposed each other in the 10:30 slot for 30 minutes each week, 50% of all British television contained Craig Charles. Get Stuffed, The Good Sex Guide, Carnal Knowledge, James Whale. 90s post-pub television was an unforgiving hellscape of grown-ups talking about beer and willies. And likewise, Bunker as Craig cut loose from the binds of the watershed as king to a lock-in of sideshow exhibits. Funky Bunker ran for 13 episodes, each with a budget of $8,000, which seems an overestimate, if anything. Directed and produced by the man who developed Mini Pops, seemingly to fill his resume with something so bad it would finally distract from his past. Opening titles show Craig running through empty back streets, stalked by a magician, before disappearing down a manhole into the Funky Bunker, down in the sewers with the poo and wee. Like much of what I cover, there's precious surviving footage, just 2 and a bit episodes, which we'll be discussing all at once.
Oh yes! Here we are!
Which newsagent did you nick that curtain from? The atmosphere's like TFI Friday if they piped sleeping gas through the vents, with a quiet audience of 90s clubbers just standing around, women in strappy crop tops, men with gelled hair and giant shirts or mod tees. It feels like Jabba's palace, with its live-in cast of disparate characters, and Craig Charles as Salacious Crumb, sweatily bouncing up and down, doing his fake Ernie from Sesame Street laugh. This is our main soundtrack, in its role as verbal tick, insincere response, or merely to fill the many horrible silences which permeate the bunker.
Can an amateur footballer do a professional foul? I was a bit late, mate. Jesus, keep up, will you?
Bunker's co-written by Craig and Russell Bell, aka the magician from the titles, and former bandmate of Gary Newman. Bell writes Craig's stand-up, and together they co-authored the Craig Charles Almanac of Complete Knowledge, and The Log, A Dwarfer's Guide to Everything. If you've read the latter, you'll recognise these jokes.
If crystals have healing powers, why are they so bleeding hard to swallow? Give me the kit, I'll show you do it, you wazzick. This is a good one, on you now, this is a good one. Where do female to male sex change patients get their dicks from? All right?
Every good variety show's got an in-house dance troupe.
The most asked question on the show is, can you meet the Funky Feathers? Here they are dancing to Labour of Love!
Each week, the Funky Feathers dress to a theme. This one's a sort of sexy builder's number. I'll give the cement a stir with me tit. Even as sexy chickens, the choreography and lusty camera work's very much of the "did I just see an anus" variety, and some of it I can't even show. I figure I'd never get bored of watching nice half-nuddy ladies, but it turns out the 3-minute routines feel very long, especially when trying not to think about how it's probably the perfect amount of time for Craig to take a wank to completion.
But one thing I do not worry about is the sex appeal of the Funky Feathers with 100% pure lust!
Stuff going on too long is the bunker's rule of thumb, with competition clips from With Nail and I or Men Behaving Badly played so fully, you wonder if you sat on the remote, and unsigned bands doing 5-minute songs.
These are the Rhythm Conspiracy, and this is Heart and Fire!
Where are we again?
On the funky bunker, on the funky bunker, on the funky bunker, on the funky bunker.
Always good when fan bases have a collective title, like Hulkamaniacs or Swifties. So what about funky bunker enthusiasts like you and I?
Welcome to the funky bunker, going out loud and clear for all you spunky funsters.
Have you got anything a bit less cummy?
Going out for all you spunky funsters.
It's growing on me. Sold as a chat show, of course there's interviews. These guys did the special effects on Hellraiser 3 and the turkey on Mr. Bean's head.
Look at the eyes on these lads. They must do a lot of drugs to come up with this kind of stuff.
Fiddling with a rubber troll and chewing on his own thumb. Craig interviews like a kid granted a Jim'll Fix It to present TV.
What's the work you're most proud of? What's the most gruesome thing you've ever had to do? What's the silliest request?
But his eyes light up at the mention of a certain 90s actress.
You mentioned Samantha Janets. If you could do a nude cast of any actress, which one would it be? My girlfriend. Oh, look at her. After brownie points or what?
Primarily, Funky Bunker is where comedians come to die. Every week some poor sod going down like Arthur Fleck. Proper Joe Beasley and Cheeky Monkey vibes from this first one. Craig having met the guy at Edinburgh and given him a slot after he pestered him for it.
Put it together for Roger D!
How y'all doing? I'm mixed race. My dad's Scottish. My mum's African, which makes me a comedian. Though my dad took me to join a boxing club actually. When I was a kid, figured I was half black, I'd be half good. The only problem was on fight night, the wrong half turned up.
The knowing look of a man who realises he's about to bomb in, of all places, the Funky Bunker.
Because white people, what is it about the mountains you gotta climb them? Anyone here been on the dole?
Craig's laugh is all that remains, as Roger goes into an extended routine about signing on.
I used to hate it when my gyro didn't come. Nothing worse than that, innit? Because you're waiting for that late post, aren't you? You know? 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, still there. Yo! Yeah, you drinking the tea? Yeah. Where's my gyro, man? Huh? Get me the supervisor. I've been signing on here for 13 years, yeah? You had to be there, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Beasley and Cheeky Monkey!
Is that Lawrence Fox? At least Craig knows how to console a fellow comic who just died on their arse.
Hey, Roger, can I just do that? Because there was no toilet paper back there.
Don't worry, there's still laughs to be found. Everywhere you turn in the bunker, hiding behind every pillar, lurking in every corner, are comedy characters. Like this agony uncle.
Please welcome Matt, welcome!
Our first letter this week is from Dan Druff in Exmouth. That's from a Miss P. Brain in March.
There's philosopher Derek Cantona.
People are always asking me, what is more important to you? Girls or girls?
Girls.
I just laugh and I say to them,
Girls.
Girls will always be more important than girls.
Abdul Fez, aka Cliff Taylor, former double act partner of Max Headroom.
Would you like some, Craig?
What is it?
Camel dung.
Ah! Okay, well,
Snort it.
Well, see, I don't snort shit anymore,
Acid.
you know? Catchphrases!
Most regular character is Dr. Destiny, played by Russell Bell, a Mystic Meg parody reciting funny astrology, like telling people their plane's gonna crash.
But when the food runs out, you'll hear everybody deciding to eat you first because you're so fat and useless. Have a nice life.
A year before Robot Wars, that's Craig's famous kiss salute. Hope Craig asked permission, or he's got no right still being mad at Fash for stealing a wooga.
A wooga awooga, awooga. Awooga, awooga! 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 Awooga on the greens!
This will tend to make it harder to get shagged, I have to say.
Perhaps it's better off with Craig, as one week his skull ring gets snagged on the tablecloth. If anyone asks you to define 1997, just show them this. Or recite this sentence.
And as one of 19 writers chosen to feature in Disco Biscuits, a collection of outrageous short stories about sex, DJs, drugs, dance floors and dealers.
Also very of its time is an interview with the Man in Black from Enigma magazine, a short-lived 40 and Times rip-off during that X-Files era when the paranormal went mainstream. You sense he'd rather be getting his colon cawed out by greys than sat having his answers about crop circles repeatedly interrupted by the witticisms of Craig Charles.
I found one on my Weetabix, you know, but I just left my spoon on it for a while and it was soggy. You know? So, anyway.
The three main differences are...
Craig can't hide his boredom either, wistful for the heady days of Roger D's Dole Office routine.
Also, instead of just lying flat, they are interlaced into a pattern. And thirdly, when you examine the wheat, there has been a genetic change in the material.
Yeah. Jesus! Strange phenomenon. Can I have another kiss? Ladies and gentlemen, the Man in Black.
Time for a game.
We're going to have a game. We're going to have a game. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play Egg in Your Face. Egg in Your Face. Ooh, lovely orange top. I love your navel. It's Egg in Your Face. It's Egg in Your Face. Egg in Your Face.
Another game falls under the remit of things which happened on 90s telly that would get jail time today, for which he picks a man and woman out of the audience.
We blindfold you, you go inside these two blue curtains and you swap clothes. If you can swap clothes inside 2 minutes, you win 50 quid. You want to play? Yeah! Okay.
But this is the 90s, so it's not really a game at all. It's a rude prank.
Swap all your clothes off and swap clothes.
None of your woke nonsense here. You couldn't trick someone into undressing in the hopes of broadcasting their genitals today. Richard Osman wouldn't have it.
She's cheating. She's cheating. She never took her pants on. She just slipped her pants over.
Yeah, we never saw a minge or nothing. What a swizz.
Take off your blindfolds and wave to the camera. Hello, camera! Well, that was the end of the curtain game.
No interview, no prize. We've seen your bodies, now get out. Let's have another comedian. At least he won't do worse than Roger D.
His name is just Adja!
Girls, I've got to compliment our dancers over there. May I say those costumes look very becoming on you. And if I was one of those costumes, I think I'd be coming on you as well.
You'll be combing on them. No Edinburgh Hour about grief here. This is classic 70s style stand-up. Make no mistake.
Did you hear about the dyslexic devil worshipper that sold his soul to Santa?
Note the heckler, also with an old and terrible joke. And then the way Adja hones in.
Yeah, OK, save your breath for blowing up your girlfriend, mate. It's a shame your prick ain't as big as your mouth. You'd be one of the dancers, mate, wouldn't you?
Let it go, Adj. Get back on track.
What about the dyslexic gynecologist? Stayed up all night having a look at a woman's vinegar.
Why did he stay up all night? That's well outside a doctor's working hours. Unless you got confused with the more famous joke, the insomniac dyslexic agnostic who stayed up all night wondering about the existence of dog. The joke you obviously used as a template. Is that what happened, mate? Has the heckler thrown you?
Now he's looking at me, you think I'm gay, don't you? I'm not even happy, mate. Am I facing the right way, am I? No, sexist. It's the difference between a golf ball and a clitoris.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're not going to have me later, are you? I'm hoping.
No, he's just keeping talking. Funky Bunker too embarrassed to stop him. Cameras having to cut back to a minute-long joke about the Kama Sutra.
I can see why you're smiling, mate. She's got small hands. I bet you feel quite proud, don't you? So I think I'll leave you with a rib tickler.
After a long gag about having a wank on ball Viagra, we're finally back to Craig, finger in his earpiece, clearly being berated by a producer.
I tried to get him up a little bit early there, but he just kept going. Anyway, cartoon time. This has got nothing to do with Pluto. It's much closer to Uranus.
We later get a look into the creative mind of Adja, in a chat which reminds us nothing ever changes, trapped in the same perpetual discussion forever and ever.
What's happening is you've got to bring it back because everyone's getting very PC, and if really we abided by every rule that people wanted us to, we've no act.
I mean, you use writers.
It's the difference between a golf ball and a clitoris.
Adja Brown, as he's now known, is still working today, described on his own website as one of the UK's most sought-after mainstream comedians. It's obvious why Craig Charles has so many brilliant comics on, as above all else, this is a man who loves to laugh.
Perform, Ronak. Look.
But anyway,
I worry. Huh? Do you know really?
You were saying this is. And just a panic. We weren't. No. Yes. We weren't. Original. Something like that.
I remember a friend in junior school adopting the Ernie laugh, but stopping after his mum said it would give him mouth cancer. If Mrs. Charles had doled out such a warning, half of Funky Bunker would be dead air. If something's really funny, he turns into a TIE fighter. Wouldn't fancy chasing down him and Christopher Biggins in an X-Wing.
A bottle of red wine!
Craig's more than just a comedy connoisseur, as a fine stand-up in his own right, showcasing his craft in the opening monologues. Here he touches on National Lottery fever.
Someone's got to win. Well, no, you haven't, because you're not a jammy bastard. The kind of little kid who opens his eyes for his first little feed and goes, oh, wow, Pamela Anderson. He's got a really big willy. And the next time you see him, he's on the telly with his hand up Anthea Turner's skirt, getting a cheque for 20 million quid. You think you're jammy bastard? I mean, you use writers. True story. I was having a bath the other day, and I was examining my pubic hair, and I found 2 grey ones. So I pulled one out and my left bollock fell off.
Though it's unseemly to accuse anyone of being on anything, he's certainly energetic.
Hey, after the break.
He's so enthused about Joe Enright's comedy makeup lady character. His laugh goes off like a factory whistle.
hello, Roy, camera 2. It's my pal, Yvonne. If you're not in a relationship, get one of these girls.
There's more unsigned music.
Oh, yes!
Then a film review section for not human traffic or train spotting like you'd expect, but The Boy from Mercury, described on Wikipedia as a nostalgic Irish film concerning the science fiction daydreams of a young boy in 1960 Dublin. After seeing a clip, what's vaunted cinema critic Craig Charles' first impression?
Black and white, wasn't it?
Another Bunker regular is gossip expert David Wigg.
So, Wiggy, what's hot and what's not?
Well, it's action time, Craig.
Action time.
Bond is back.
I'm sure they got on fine, But the effect much older Wig's presence alongside a now very sweaty and loud Craig has the air of a school bully sitting at the soft lad's lunch table.
I mean, who's the smallest actor you've met? I was doing a thing with Janet McTeer, and she's like really tall, and I've got a really small friend, and he said he'd love to make love to her standing on a bucket. And she said to him, "You couldn't make love to me, even with a bucket." He said, "I wouldn't stand on it, I'd put it over your head and swing it off the handles."
What do you reckon? Can you handle one more comedian?
He's from Liverpool, he's very funny. What's new? John Martin!
God, this is the latest I've ever been up. My mum's gonna go mad. She thinks I've only gone the all-night garage for a pint of milk.
Rewrite that line from Bag of Crisps, did you?
On the all-night garage for a pint of milk. I used to think pi r squared was the dinner. I hated school. I used to get mixed up with PE and RE. I once went on a cross-country run dressed as the Archbishop of Canterbury. Me shorts fell off once. He thought it was the Duke of Argyll. But
Any comedian go on Funky Bunker and not die 1,000 deaths challenge?
we used to play out in Liverpool. We used to play games. They don't do that now. You say to the kids, "Do you want to play hopscotch?" They say, "Is that Sega or Nintendo?" We used to play games like Doctors and Nurses. Oh, that was brilliant. I didn't like that game, though. I hated playing that. I was always the ambulance driver. I asked my mum for a cowboy outfit, and 3 builders from the council turned up. I don't know about you, I've been eating beef for years. It's never affected me.
According to Martin's wiki page, he became the UK's first government-sponsored comedian when he received £40 a week under the Enterprise Allowance Scheme.
Do you remember Blockbusters? Oh, yeah. They had to take that off, since that fella from Oasis went on it, and he kept saying, "Can I have an E, please, Bob?"
Your taxes paid for that joke.
You can't believe how good I am, can you be honest about it? Is this your first time as an audience, or have you had some experience before?
Oh, I've got experience.
My brother, he's a Quaker. Yeah, we got him free with 6 packets of porridge. Weird.
Hey, John, join me here.
When you definitely are mates with someone off the telly.
That's my mate Craig. How are you, mate? Why do women spend hours in agony plucking their eyebrows and then draw them on with a pencil? I worry.
That is the Funky Bunker, and you are a load of spunky funsters. I want you to join me again next week when we say "Awooga! Awooga!"
Take that, Fashanu. But as Funky Bunker has the feeling of a nightmare house party, it should end in the only appropriate way.
We're going to do a song. We're going to do a song.
The start of a skit? Nope. It's Craig Charles earnestly singing the self-composed number everybody knows, while we have to listen in what stands as the most unexpected yarwooding of all time.
Everybody knows, they know I love you so. Everybody knows, they know I can't stand still.
Yeah, we have noticed.
Everybody knows, they know you're my best friend. Everybody knows, my soul's on fire.
But like Just Adja, there's no end. Performing the song in full 2 and then 3 times. Camera panning to faces of the audience. Faces of rubber monsters with pointy fangs. Until finally, 1,000 years later, the credits roll. We made it. It's over. We can all move on. Well, you can. I'm still trying to shake that sound, etched onto my brain like the scars across your vision when you've been staring at the sun.
They're so hard-faced, the kids, aren't they? They say they've never heard of Max Wall. How come they all dress like him?
More sense of humour.